Hello, everyone. My name is Albert Angelo, and I have been invited to give a presentation to you for about the next hour on stress management and specifically dealing with stress during uncertain times. And these are uncertain times. Give you a little background. I work as a health educator and part-time faculty member at CSU San Bernardino in their health center and on campus. And I've been in that role for about 8 years. Prior to that, I worked at San Francisco State for about 19 years, same role. And I have a master's degree in education from the University of Pennsylvania. Got that in way back when, 1993, and lived in the Philadelphia area for my first 26 years and then moved to California, where I'm still here. I live in Palm Springs, California. So we're going to get started. The first thing I want to do with you is I want to introduce a breathing exercise. And what we're going to do is we're going to count, or we're going to breathe in slowly for a count of 4, hold it for 2 seconds, and then exhale for a count of 4. So you can get comfortable. We'll do it 3 times. So when you're ready, slowly breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4, hold it 1, hold it 2, and slowly exhale 2, 3, and 4. We'll do it 2 more times. Slowly inhale, hold it, and slowly exhale. One more time, slowly inhale, hold it, and slowly exhale. With your eyes still closed and relaxed, I'd like you to think about all the stuff that's worrying you, scaring you, causing you anxiety, causing you stress, causing you grief, all of that kind of stuff. Collect it throughout your whole body and remove it. Get rid of it. We have a vacation from it for 1 hour. Sometimes when I'm stressed, I'll think to myself or say to myself, I have 1 hour to get rid of this and I'll pick it up later, but I'm on vacation from whatever is worrying me for the next hour. The other thing is think about somebody you love or care about, those who have been there for you, who've shown you support and been there when things have been difficult. And in your heart, just take a moment and thank that person or thank those people. And if you can, try to carry that gratitude the rest of the day. Sometimes when I'm really upset or anxious and so forth, I have to remind myself of what is going right, all the things that are going right in my life. So I think I'm going to go back and just kind of talk about the goals of the program. So we're going to examine and assess the causes of stress, especially around uncertain times. And I'm going to try to help you incorporate effective methods and tools to reduce stress. One of the things I want to say right up front is I kind of giggled to myself a little when I was asked to do this because, the topic is stress during uncertain times. And I'm thinking, I am 54 years old and I don't remember when there wasn't an uncertain time. Life is full of uncertainty. What will the economy be like? What will my job be like? Will I get ill? Will I get a promotion? Will I get married? Will I get a divorce? I mean, whatever. Life is always, always unpredictable. There's some things we can predict or some things we can rely on, but a lot of the stuff is uncertain. So really, it's really dealing with stress day to day in pretty much a lifetime of uncertainty. This just happens to be a more stressful time, but there's always going to be uncertain times. So hopefully these tools will be helpful for you. We did the breathing exercise, and I'm going to define stress. So what is stress? Well, it's your body and mind's reaction to a perceived threat. maybe to your health, maybe to your safety, maybe to your security, maybe to your reputation, maybe toward your ego. There's some kind of stress that's saying something's at risk, right? My health is at risk, my finances are at risk, my safety is at risk, my relationship is at risk. So I have to kind of figure out what to do about it. Now, some stress is minor and some stress is major, but that's the kind of stress that we're dealing with. Something doesn't feel peaceful. Something feels like it could go wrong, right? So that's what we're dealing with when we think of stress. You know, it's interesting. We all need a level of stress to be productive because if no one has stress, we wouldn't really have any kind of productive life. But everybody has their own level of stress that's comfortable. So let me be clear on this. There are people who would look at my job and think you're a teacher, work at a university, you have the summers off, whatever. And gee, that's kind of boring. I mean, I would be bored at that job. Fine with me. I hear you. They want to be, say, on Wall Street, or they want to be at a startup in Silicon Valley, and they want to work 80 hours a week, and they want really something demanding, and they want something, where they feel like, they can climb a ladder and, get more, ahead and more promotions and money. Fine with me. What you want to look at, though, is what works for you, because society will judge you. If you're not stressed enough, somehow you don't have enough status. So if I said to somebody, "How was your day?" and they went, "Oh my God, I have, 8 emails and I, 60 phone calls and I have all these reports and I have to stay late and I have to work over the weekend." You think, well, this person's really important because they're busy. Somebody says, how's my weekend? And I say, fine, I relaxed. They might think, well, you don't really have a prestigious job because, like, what are you doing on the weekends or at night or whatever? It's not as prestigious. So stress offers a prestige. Don't you know how important I am? So I need this package delivered right away, or I need this service done right away because I'm important. And really status people like the Queen of England, that kind of thing, they have staff that are stressed. So they may be peaceful, but they have staff that are stressed. And I'm thinking like the Devil Wears Prada, the main character just stressed out her staff. But that's a level of status where you can stress out your staff. But those who aren't stressed, society will give a impression that somehow you're not important enough because you don't have something going on that's really, really urgent and very, very, very important, and deadlines and so forth. So why do we have stress, or what's unhelpful around stress? Well, we worry about the future. Will I get that job? Will the medical test come back okay? Will my relationship last? So we fear uncertainty. We try to control the future. It's okay to plan for the future, but we can't control the future. Here's an example. I can plan for a wedding, right? I can hire the band and, invite the guests and order the cake. But how it turns out, I don't have any really control over all of that. What the guests think, who shows up, how they interact, you know, what kind of music, people like or don't. I mean, all those kind of things are out of my control. So if I need everyone to like an event, I'm going to have stress because I need to create something where everyone's going to like it. Stress is I need you to, and then fill in the blank. I need you to like the party. I need you to do that report. I need you to fix the sink. When I need somebody to do something, then I feel, quote, out of control because they have the control to handle that request. And it could work very well, or there could be a problem. I wanted that plumber at 8 o'clock and they didn't show up till noon, right? Or, oh my God, I called that carpenter and the carpenter was perfect. It, arrived on time. The work was done really well. We regret the past. That can cause stress. Shouldn't have eaten that, shouldn't have said that, shouldn't have bought that, shouldn't have emailed that, right? So there's like we can regret the past. And what happens is we're kind of trying to control something in the future, and we're trying to think about what happened in the past, and we're generally not present. We're generally not present. And that's the key, because peace comes in the present. My brain is fast forward, it's usually not peaceful. When my brain is present, it's more that I'm in a peaceful space. So let's talk about some stress management strategies. The one big one for me is this a real problem, a real issue, or a fantasy fiction issue? So there's a saying that fear is false evidence appearing real. So for me, I'm a big worrier. So, I think, oh my God, my car is going to break down. Oh my God, I'm going to be on a major highway and a tractor trailer is going to hit me. Um, and I remind myself when I'm on the highway, like, yeah, this isn't 100% safe. There's always a risk. But I remind myself and I say, are you in an auto accident at this time? No. Is your car running well at this time? Yeah. So the reality is I'm in a safe spot. In other words, I'm currently safe, right? I'm not in an accident and my car is running. So when I go into that fear and anxiety mode, I'll say to myself, is this accurate or am I scaring myself? I recently got a blood test, and part of the panel of what they look for is kidney functions. And I'm thinking, oh my God, my God, my God, my kidneys are probably going to be really bad, blah, 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 blah. And I said, is that real or are you afraid? And I said, I'm afraid. Got the test results back, and the results actually were better than I anticipated. Again, right? Now, sometimes those things do really happen. You really do get in an auto accident. You really do get a medical result that is not what you wanted. But I can deal with real problems because I can have some real options. It's very hard for me to have real options to fantasy problems. So, when I think about it, it's like, well, whatever happens, I am resourceful enough to fix it. I'm resourceful enough to fix it, and to get help and resources and so forth. In other words, I will continue. I will work through this, right? And my past has suggested that's true, right? Another thing too is I can outsize or overrate a stress, right? So, for example, if oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, the plumber didn't show up and the water pressure is not as high as it should be, and how come they're not here, right? And I'm thinking, I can still take a shower. There's still water. I can still get a drink of water. It's just that the water pressure is not as high as I wanted. Is that on a scale of 1 to 10? Is that a major issue or is it a minor issue or somewhere in between? And I say that because a lot of things that are more minor, I elevate to DEFCON 4, emergency, total war, get this over with, this is a big problem. And in reality, most of the stuff um, is not that high. Most of the stuff is less intense. So I have to sort of remind myself of, like, what's the scale? Is it really a 10? Like, did I get in a major auto accident and a fire truck is showing up? Or is it, oh, my warning light came on and I need an oil change, right? So what's the level of stress? The other thing I've learned in so many years of life is I have lost sleep, worried, stressed, had anxiety over issues that have never happened. So I have lost sleep and lost time and lost energy because I was worrying about stuff that never happened. And so I say to myself, Albert, you don't have a lot of life left, right? I mean, we're only here on a limited amount of time. How much do I want to spend worrying about life or enjoying life? I'm the kind of person that would worry about whether a coffin is comfortable. Well, I hope they got a good, a Tempur-Pedic mattress in that coffin because I'm going to be there for a while. And I'm thinking, wow, I'm even worried about my my coffin. Like, let it go, let it go. And another stress management technique is just deal with today. Whatever today is, just deal with it. Don't deal with next month, next year. You can plan, but don't plan the outcome. Let the outcome happen on the time frame that it's supposed to happen. Change what you can and let go of what you cannot. It's a serenity prayer. You ever hear that? God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Well, in a sense, is what can I change? And what do I need to accept? So, for example, in my position, I commute on a major highway, and it, tractor trailers, traffic, traffic jams, that kind of thing. Um, I can't change that. From my home to where I work, I need to take a major highway. What I can change is if I want to quit or get another job. Not to saying I'm going to do that, but when I sort of feel stressed and feel like a victim, I say to myself, what are my options? Because I always have options. What are my options? No one's forcing me to do any specific job. And with every job comes hassle, comes benefits, and comes hassle. So, you know, we just have to look at that. Change what you can and accept what you can't. The stress comes from accepting what you can change, right? So, wow, actually, I could change that, but I'm thinking I don't have the power to, or changing what you can't change, trying to change what you can't change. Well, if I worry and stress enough, I know my friends tomorrow are going to have a good party, or a good time at my dinner party, right? How do you know that? One of the things that causes stress is we don't accept something, and acceptance requires grief. So I'm going to give you an example. I used to work at San Francisco State. Used to take a bike ride. I used to bike, right? Used to take a bike ride through Golden Gate Park and along the ocean. Beautiful, beautiful. And then I would, bike to campus, go to their gym, shower, and go to work. Beautiful, beautiful. Started working at CSU San Bernardino, and I get in the car, I get on I-10, I get on I-210. That's not the same, right? And I remember when I first started working doing this, I was really like angry, on the road. Like, this is ridiculous. There's cars and there's traffic and it's expensive to drive a car. And what I realized was I was still holding on to this is unacceptable. But I wanted to move into a desert environment. I wanted to get away from cold weather, and I can't commute to San Francisco from Palm Springs every day. So um, I'm at CSU San Bernardino, which I really do care about my coworkers and the students and the environment. I mean, I really have a great love for the university. I just don't love the commute, right? So I had to grieve that and say, well, if I want hot weather and living in Palm Springs, it comes with the drawback of I can't bike along the ocean to get to work every day. And once I kind of grieved that and accepted that's the loss, then the stress went away. Like, yeah, you know what? I miss going along the ocean on a bike. But this overall is what I wanted moving forward in my life. Be kind to your mind. Sometimes the things we say to ourselves, how could I be so stupid? How could I be so foolish? Oh my God, I'm a loser. Oh my God, I'll never measure up to anything. Get rid of that. The worst neighborhood that I have is in my head. And I often say to students, if you say those things to yourself, if that was a person sitting across from you from your kitchen table telling you that, you'd probably tell them to get out. You'd probably say, "Get out of my house. Look at what the things you're telling me, right? That I don't measure up, that I'm stupid, that I'm a loser, or whatever." So I'll say to myself, "No, no, I want to right size. These are the things I can work on for improvement, but I'm also not a loser, not, this, not a failure, whatever." It's kind of saying, be kind, right? Be kind. Shame is not a good way to change behavior. Reflecting on being a better person and increasing your qualities and so forth, maybe that would be a motivator, but generally shame just kind of beats a person down. So be kind to your mind, one day at a time. I can handle today, but if I had to handle all next week, I'd be wigging out. So I can handle, I'll say to myself, I can handle today. I can handle today. And sometimes when life has been super stressful for me, I remember saying, I can handle this morning. I was going through a divorce years ago. Whoa. Let me tell you, I was saying I can handle 10 o'clock. I can handle till noon. Okay, I'm going to handle the lawyer in the afternoon. I mean, it was like moment by moment. But if I thought about the whole thing as like the whole grand thing, I think it would have overwhelmed me. So I needed to handle one day at a time, one day at a time. Another stress management technique is just to simply meditate. Meditate is a grace period where you're taking the world and you're putting some space between it. And the things that come up in your mind, you don't act on it. You acknowledge it and you let it go. Like, oh my God, I'm really worried. I have to do laundry. Okay, let that go. Concentrate on my breath. Oh my God, no. Let that go. Concentrate on your breath. Because you know what I do now, right? Without meditating is, oh my God, I do laundry. And next thing I know, I'm up doing laundry. Oh my God, clean the dishes. So I'm acting on the thoughts. With meditation, you take away the engine, right? So you have the thing go into park, because what you're saying is whatever comes up in my mind, I will not act on it. I will not take it in and ruminate on it. I'm just going to let it go. I'm going to let it go. And so that really was super helpful. Also, when you meditate, it brings the world into just a small space. And for me, that small space can go anywhere. So there's a comfort in this is my space when I'm feeling upset or anxious. It's a space I stay in. Um, when things are uncertain, try to create certainty. So, for example, the COVID-19 epidemic, right, or pandemic, with so much uncertainty, it's helpful to create certainty. So, for example, if you're working from home and that's new and it feels weird and all that, create morning daily routines. One of the routines I will often do is I will set up my workstation or wherever I'm working at the office or at home. I kind of set it up, get things in order, and then I do my work. And that's a daily routine. At the end of the day, I close things down. If I'm home, I may put the computer away. I have a folding table, because at home, when I work at home, I like the office to be gone after work. So I have a folding table for work, and I fold up the table after work. It's a way of transitioning and creating stability. Organizing, right? So when we feel very unstable, having things organized can feel very stabling. Decluttering, creating a peaceful space, designating spaces like this is where I meditate, this is where I work. I know some people are in small spaces, but this can be the chair that I meditate in. This area can be where I have my desk for work. So you can designate spaces so it doesn't feel like it's bleeding into everything. Let go of perfection during uncertain times. I'm like, I have to exercise perfectly. I have to work perfectly. I have to be the perfect partner. I have to be the perfect parent. I have to be the perfect, child to my parents. If they're older and you need to take care of them, let it go. Let it go, especially during the COVID epidemic pandemic, because I thought I can't exercise at the level I want. Oh, the gym's closed. Oh, this, oh, that. You can only go to the gym for 20 minutes or half an hour or whatever. There's the way I could do things before is not the same. And so therefore I'll say to myself, at this time, let go of perfection. Even after that, let go of perfection. But I've heard parents say, I'm not being the perfect parent while my son is home or my daughter is home or whatever. Yep, that's true. You're just going to be a good parent, not a perfect parent. So let go of all that perfection stuff. Remember, there's a resolution. One of the things that happens to me is I see a problem and I don't see the resolution of the problem. So, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, this is the problem that's going to be coming up. And I don't see what life will be like after the problem has been transcended. So I'll often say to myself, remember, Albert, envision the resolution, envision life after the problem is over. Um, so, when I was going through divorce, I said to myself, there's going to be a time where I'm not going to be going through a divorce. It'll be, resolved, right? Like the paperwork and issues and so forth. It'll have a resolution to it. So remember, there will be a resolution. I won't be going through a divorce for the next 50 years, right? There'll be a resolution to it. One of the things that is also good is envision a world that you want, like even a vision board. And a vision board can be anything. It could be words, it could be pictures, it could be you pin it on a wall, you have a three-ring binder of things you would, vision for your life. It could be a collage, whatever. But sometimes for me, when I sort of don't see the resolution of something, I'll take out, like a three-ring binder and I'll say, this is what life is going to be like once like the pandemic is over. I'm going to go back to swimming. I'm going to take an art class. I'm going to interact with coworkers again. And so that's a vision that lets me know that good things are coming. And these are the things I want to come. In other words, I'm hopeful for, and maybe I have some power to try to influence them coming into my life. So a vision board is really a great idea. One of the things happens when you're going through uncertain times or higher levels of stress is enhance your self-care. So I remember this was an example. I remember there was a plane delay and it was like 6 hours and all that kind of thing. And I was at the airport and I said to myself, open up the taps and spend more money on self-care stuff. So I bought those $15 magazines, that like you're going to throw out after an hour and a half of reading it. I went and I got like a chair massage and I got one of them, Frappuccino things, for $5 or $8 or whatever. In other words, what I said was now's not the time to try to be like super conscious about the high prices in the airport. Now's the time to sort of say self-care. And, I often will do that now, especially as I get older. I'll say the hassle's not worth saving that amount of money. So in other words, I may spend more money on having my food delivered as opposed to picking it up or going to dry cleaning or having somebody clean my house or whatever. So when I'm under more stress, I'll say to myself, now add more self-care, notch up your self-care to match the level of stress that I'm going through. One of the things that can happen with stress management is if I broaden my environment, I see how small I am and sometimes how small my problems are. So sometimes when I'm thinking in my head and I see a problem, because that's all I'm focusing on, I go outside and I see the sky. It's huge. And I happen to like crescent moons the best. People like maybe full moons. I like crescent moons. And just recently, I went out in the desert, nighttime, the sun's just gone, and it was just that deep blue. And it was a crescent moon. I'm like, this is beautiful. And I feel like a grain of sand, which is wonderful, right? Because what it's saying is life is bigger than my problems, right? So in other words, there's a lot to be grateful for and a lot to realize how small sometimes my problems are. Not all the time, but most of the time my problems are pretty manageable. And then sometimes I'll just say, take the world away and just bring me into a little focus. There's a spa I go to and they have like a dry sauna that's a very small dry sauna. I like going in there and most of the time I'm by myself and it just feels like my space. Like the whole world just disappears. I'm just in my space. And I love that. Just sort of like let the world go. One of the things that can happen when we're under more stress or uncertain times is create stable activities. Like, for example, going to dinner, or I'm thinking like the pandemic, right? The COVID-19 pandemic. I remember going swimming once the pool opened up again and thinking, God, this feels normal again. Or going to a restaurant actually indoors, that feels normal again. So when I think about it, an uncertain time, try to enjoy things that give you a sense of peace and stability and enjoyment. So it's totally reasonable and totally a good idea. One of the things that helps me is limit social media and limit the news. I was realizing that I was really having like kind of a depressing period, where like I'm like, why am I always down? Like, what's going on? And I realized as soon as I get up, I turn my smartphone on and I look at the news. And the news is so and so got killed, so and so got shot, so and so's in jail, so and so embezzled money. There's a tornado over here, there's an earthquake over there. And I thought, no wonder I'm kind of like starting my day in this kind of negative space because I'm reading all this negativity. So what I taught myself is don't read the news until about 2 hours after you wake up. So the world is fine for about 2 hours, unless there's a nuclear war. The world is fine for about 2 hours. And then when I wake up and feel like grounded and I feel like my day is organized, then I can look at the news if I want. And then limit the news. I don't need news alerts because I'm not the president of the United States. I don't need to know when a bill was passed by the Senate. I mean, I just don't, right? I don't need that immediate update. Social media, the same thing. That can raise anxiety or it can raise stress, especially when we feel like we have to respond to everything. Oh, I don't like that political view. I need to respond to it. Oh, this is what somebody said. I have to write a comment on it. And so sometimes I'll just say, limit social media and limit social media accounts. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. I'll say to myself, I'll go on Facebook, Instagram. I don't really want to deal with Twitter. My partner loves TikTok. I'm like, I don't want to go on TikTok. You know what I mean? It's just me. I don't want to go on TikTok. So, limit social media. My partner gets a lot of relaxation from watching those goofy music videos. Fine with I don't, but he does, and that's all that matters. He finds it, relaxing. That's great. That's great. Work what works. Whatever works for you, work it. I'm not trying to say don't do this or do this. If it works for you, do it. You know what I mean? Do it. Um, One of the things I was realizing is every time I take a break, I would go onto social media. Like, oh, I have a minute. Let me see what's on Facebook, and then I get agitated, or go on Instagram or something, and I have to post that. So I thought to myself, rather than look at the news or look at social media during those little mini breaks when you're standing in line or in between meetings or something, I downloaded a relaxing app. There's so many of them. So I'm not going to, say one is better than the other one. I like visual and sound. So there's this app that like mimics the sound and look of rain. And, I just turn it on and I'm just watching these like, digital drops of rain and the sound of it. And I'm just like, you know what? That feels really comforting. It feels very relaxing. Sometimes when I'm stressed and I think I have big problems, helping somebody else gets me out of my head. So I'll think, oh, I got all these big problems and blah, 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 blah. And then I'll hear somebody dealing with a child who's got cancer, right? A child who has cancer, or somebody who's dealing with, a foreclosure, or, somebody who's dealing with, something really major. And I think, you know what? My problems aren't as big as that. And in fact, I feel better if I can be of help in without ruining my self-care, but being of help. And I'll say, you know what? Helping somebody else helps me feel good about myself and life. And if I do it in a balanced way, then that can be really, really therapeutic because it lets me know I'm being of help. And it lets me know that, you know what, my problems aren't as big as this person is dealing with. So, okay. So, you can help others, right? You can seek support, employee resources. Like if you're, where you're working, if you have, if you have, like employee programs that deal with, like, supporting you around with therapy or other kind of services, I would take advantage of it. Community services, other kind of services as well. So one of the things that can also help is practicing gratitude. um, I can get into a kind of a negative mood really easily, like, oh my God, do they really have to pick up the trash at 7 in the morning? Can't they do it later? And then the gratitude is, I can take a bag of garbage, smelly banana peels and other kind of crap that really, and I can walk out to the bin and toss it in, and somebody picks it up and takes it away. You know what I mean? Like, talk about gratitude. You throw trash, 20 feet from you in some bin, and it's gone. So you can look at things like in a gratitude way. I remember one time I was going to lunch, and I'm like, oh, I have to walk to the thing, and I have to wait in line. And a student was in a wheelchair, and the student went by me, and I thought, I can walk. I can walk. I mean, like, I'm grateful that I have that ability. So it's easy to kind of miss that, but practicing gratitude is a big help. One is just to take a break, and there's nothing wrong with watching a comedy or watching a TV show or watching a movie. If you zone out and aren't, are procrastinating, maybe that's an issue. But for the most part, if you take a break and watch a comedy or a movie or whatever, that can be quite healthy. Sometimes I'll think, you know what, I need to laugh. I need to, maybe see a comedy on the cable or Netflix or whatever. So there are questions that are common, frequently asked questions. And so in this program, because it's taped, I'm going to share a couple. I'm just going to share a few that usually come up. So one of them is, how do I handle working from home while my kids are out of school? One day at a time, right? So you're working from home today, one day at a time. Two, you're not going to be the perfect parent. They're not going to be the perfect student, right? So you have to let go of that. Three, I would look at, what are my resources? Can I co-parent with, say, a neighbor, right? Like, we have like a small group where on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, all the kids come, maybe like three of the kids come to my place, my child and my two neighbors. And then, Tuesdays and Thursdays, they go to somebody else's house, or one day a week they come to my house, and one day a week they go to somebody else's house. So can I share that kind of responsibility? How much can I use people around me? I wouldn't say use, that's not the right word. How much can I, seek cooperation and support from those around me who can lend me a hand, right? So maybe my partner is not working, maybe my partner is working part-time, maybe they can help out, maybe a parent, like, oh, my mom could maybe, help out. So I would think about, like, what are those situations that, are in my power to control. Another one is, what kind of environment am I going to set my child up in? Like, where will they be doing their schoolwork? Where will I be doing my work? Another one is, what will I let go and what will I enforce? So again, remember how we practice more self-care during more stressful times? Well, I've heard this from some friends who have said, during the COVID pandemic, I kind of let some things slide. Not like horrific things or anything like that, but yeah, okay, the room wasn't as clean as it could have been, but during them being home, I kind of let that slide. Or they had their music on louder than I normally would, but I thought, you know what, during the day I'll let that slide. Whatever. So sometimes you may ease some restrictions to kind of say, you know what, I'm going to kind of let this go. Or you can kind of change some of the rules around. So that's another way of dealing with how am I going to deal with my kids and myself working, being home. Another thing too is acceptance. I mean, nobody likes to feel overly stressed, And many, 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 many parents are saying, I wish my child would go back to school because, this is extra stress, right? This is extra stress. So one of the things that helps me is I'm not alone. I'm not unique. Not everybody's handling this really wonderfully, and I'm the only one stressing out. Many people are. Many, many, many people are. So there's an acceptance of this is a stressful situation for many, many people. What are my options? What are my options? Working from home is making me crazy because my boss emails me after hours and I feel like I have to quickly respond, even though it's outside my normal work hours. So here's that work life balance thing, right? So there's a sense of if my boss emails me at any time, I'm forced to respond. And so when I kind of have that, I have no choice in my mind, like I have no choice, I have no choice. I'll say to myself, is that accurate? What's my range of options and my range of power in this? So for example, if I worked for the president of the United States, I would say if the president emails me at 2 in the morning, I've got to answer it, right? Because it's that kind of job. In my job, if my supervisor or my boss emails me at 10 at night, I'm not required to return it. If my boss emails me at 5:05, I'm not required to return it. So I often will be able to because my job isn't that stressful, but I realize then I still have options to choose to or not respond to an email after hours. And my boss is very kind about it. She doesn't demand that I respond, after hours or whatever. She's very, very kind, and I love working for her. The issue though is what's in my power to do it. So if a boss emails me after hours and I feel like I have to respond, I may check in and get real data on that. Hey, supervisor, when you email me at 10 at night, is this a high priority that you want me to respond right away? Or is this something like a heads up and you are okay if I respond the next day? And if it's mixed, sometimes it's urgent, sometimes it can wait. Can we have kind of some clarity around that where I know this is urgent or hey, I can wait till, tomorrow, or I can wait till business hours to do it. So I've actually done that. I've actually said, I want to respond to your request. Is this a request that you need my immediate attention, or is this a request that I can add to my job duties when I start work tomorrow? And often it's, oh yeah, no, don't worry about it. When you get to work tomorrow, I was just up and I just thought of this, I just thought of this idea or this project or whatever. And okay, so tomorrow I'll get on that. um, Another one too is I've seen this happen where somebody will have an outgoing email that says, "Thank you for your email. It's important for me to always respond to emails in a timely manner. Due to the high volume and working from home or whatever, the return time may be more delayed. If this is like an urgent matter, you can text me or something, but otherwise, just please understand that my return time may be delayed due to like a higher level of work." So that's another strategy. Another strategy, to be honest, is this the type of work you want? If the president of the United States is emailing me at 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, I need you to write a major speech by 5 in the morning. I can't deal with all that kind of stress. So I would think, I understand you need this kind of work. I'm not the good worker for this. I'm not the right match for this. So, sometimes it's just, is this the job that is the best fit for me? I know it's easy to say, oh, it's easy just to change jobs. It's not easy just to change jobs, but it is important to say, how is this job working for me, and what are my options if I'm not happy about it? Must I stay? Are there any other ways of changing this? So I would look at that as well. I'm just going to stay on that last question for a minute. Um, One of the things that can happen for me is I get stressed. I get stressed because I'm thinking of what you're thinking. So one of the things that I remind myself is, what's the story I'm telling myself? Brene Brown mentioned this. She's a researcher and public speaker and so forth. And she's on TED Talks, and she'll say, "What's the story I'm telling myself?" So if I get an email at 10 at night from my boss, the story I'm telling myself is, if I don't respond to it ASAP, I'm going to be in trouble. But that's the story I'm telling myself. What's the data to back that up? Right? Like, is it true? Is it really accurate? Because it may be, right? Is it true? Is it accurate? Well, probably not, right? So I want to get real data on something, like how, what I'm thinking, is that validated by what I'm seeing in the real world? With such with so much uncertainty going on, I'm finding it hard to concentrate. Yes, when I was going through a divorce, I could barely remember my name. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God. I mean, because you're under so much stress. So again, self-care, self-compassion, acceptance. Yes, when I'm going under tremendous stress, I'm not going to be doing Einstein equations and solving the world's carbon footprint problem. I mean, you know what I mean? I'm not going to be doing that, because right now I'm under a lot of stress. So I'll say to myself, I still need to do my job. I still need to be effective. I still need to, do things, to manage my life. But that A plus level may not be there if I'm under tremendous stress. I need to make sure I compensate my expectations, or I need to kind of recalibrate my expectations, because I'm under a lot of stress. I'm under a lot of stress. So I'm going to stop there, and I'm just going to offer that if you have further questions, because this is a tape program, you are always welcome to email me. I'll give you my email. It's AJAINSF. So it's AJAINSF, like SF, like San Francisco. So AJAINSF at gmail.com. And if you have a question, you want, some feedback, I'm happy to give it. Just as a uh, I guess, just to be transparent, or just, to be sure of what I can offer. I'm not a therapist. I am not, I'm not anyway licensed to do any kind of, diagnosis or treatment or therapy. What I can offer is just some feedback that may be educationally advantageous. And of course, use what you think you can use, and ignore what you think you don't think you can use, if I do give you any feedback. So just want to put that out there, so that you have a clear understanding of what I can offer, if you do choose to email me. So I want to stop there. I want to thank you for spending some time with me. I hope some of these tools and strategies were helpful. I know they help me on a daily basis, and I know I'm always going to have stress in life. So it's not a matter of get rid of stress, then enjoy life. It's, how do I manage stress so concurrently I can still enjoy life? So thank you, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thank you very much.